Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is a pleasure to be doing business questions and responding to the right honourable gentleman who, like myself but more grand, was a chief whip and much respected and revered and sometimes feared by members of this House. And I'll be honest, Mr. Speaker, even I was terrified of him, and we're not even in the same party. So it is a pleasure to be here today. And as we reach the 4th anniversary of Putin's invasion of Ukraine, it is important that we restate our unwavering support for the people of Ukraine. We must never abandon them. And I know it's been a challenging few weeks for the Labour Party. We've all been there. They've come to realise what the British people long understood, that we have a Prime Minister who has U-turned on every principle he held and every promise he made. A Prime Minister elected on a promise not to raise taxes on working people. Then he raised them. A Prime Minister who promised to be pro-business, but and he has become the most anti-business Prime Minister of modern times. A Prime Minister who promised to raise standards in public life, but is presiding over an ever-growing mountain of government scandals. The grown-ups are back in charge, no more sleaze. How's that going for you? Whilst the Prime Minister stumbles on, his ministers are now out of control and out of their depth. And the British people are paying the price. Let me start with the Justice Secretary. This week, we saw he intends to pursue his reckless plan to cut jury trials, a principle that has existed for over 800 years, a principle he wants to wreck without proper debate in the House. So will the Leader of the House give me as a categoric assurance that the changes to the Justice Secretary wants to make, that we will have time to debate in the House before we get to May? And now, let me turn to the Education Secretary of State and Equalities Minister. There can be no justification for the delay in providing guidance on single-sex spaces. The Supreme Court ruled a year ago that biological sex defines a woman, a fact that most people knew without needing a judge to tell them. I don't know if the Education Secretary, deep down, still doesn't agree, but the inaction must end. So will the Leader of the House confirm when the guidance will be laid before the House and grant a debate in government time on the unacceptable delays and risk it has proved to women and girls? Now let me turn to the Chancellor. This week, the Chancellor's entrepreneurship advisor shamefully said that Britain doesn't need more restaurants, laying bare what we already knew. This government is determined to tax our hospitality businesses to extinction. So, will the Chancellor apologise for her advisor and sack her, or back her and agree with her anti-hospitality stance? Will the Leader of the House grant a debate in government time on our pubs and hospitality so that members, at least on this side of the House, can have a debate and show their support for the hospitality sector? And we want to move forward making sure that this crippling tax burden is removed from the hospitality sector moving forward. And Mr. Speaker, it is now clear that we have a Prime Minister with an out-of-control government buried deep in scandal after scandal, failure after failure, broken promise after broken promise. A Prime Minister without principle, a Prime Minister without purpose, a Prime Minister without a future, and the British people deserve better.
Leader of the House.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I thank the honourable lady for her questions and for her warm welcome. But let me gently warn her that soft soap will get her absolutely nowhere. Let me join with her in expressing our continued support for Ukraine. This week marks 4 years since Putin's full-scale invasion. The government remains steadfast in its support, as did the previous government, for the people of Ukraine. and this week we announced a landmark sanctions package against Russia. We will, Mr Speaker, stand with Ukraine as long as it takes to achieve a just and lasting peace, which underlines the importance of NATO and, frankly, the foolishness of any party in this House who wants us to leave NATO. Mr Speaker, I'm sure the whole House will wish to congratulate Team GB on their most successful Winter Olympic Games ever and send our best wishes to Paralympics GB ahead of the Paralympic Winter Games starting on the 6th of March. Mr Speaker, I also want to send my condolences to the family and friends of Harry Barnes, who passed away last week. He diligently served as MP for North East Derbyshire for nearly 20 years. I also wish to send my condolences to the family and friends of Martin Butler, who was the co-founder of the Terence Higgins Trust. And as so, Martin supported the Trust for 5 decades and fought for LGBT rights, and it's undoubted, Mr Speaker, that his legacy will live on. This week, Mr Speaker, Ofgem has announced that electricity bills will come down for millions of households as a result of the action that we took in the budget. And as we've announced, Mr Speaker, we have announced major changes to the SEND system. We're putting children and young people first. Every child with additional needs will benefit from a better, more tailored support with SEND support in every school and community. And finally, Mr Speaker, I want to wish all those celebrating a happy St David's Day on Sunday. Let me now turn to the remarks of the Honourable Lady, and let me begin with her, I thought, fairly churlish remarks about the Prime Minister, because what she failed to mention, because he is doing such a good job, I'm pleased the Honourable Gentleman acknowledges that, that inflation is falling, that interest rates have fallen 6 times since the general election, retail sales are up, wages are up, and the economy is growing. So I think that is a record upon which we should be proud. And let me turn to the question of the Prime Minister's integrity and just draw the comparison, Mr Speaker, to the integrity of my right honourable friend with the fact that the Honourable Lady was one of the very last people in the redoubt with Boris Johnson, not joining others in holding the former Prime Minister to account. Let me turn now to the Courts Bill. I've already announced, Mr Speaker, the second reading of the Courts Bill. There will be plenty of time to debate. I will bring forward the next stages in the usual way. And similarly, with the guidance that she refers to, we will be bringing forward, we've committed to bringing forward that guidance, and we will do, and there will be time for debate of these important matters, but it is important that we get it right. In terms of hospitality, Mr Speaker, there will be further opportunities to debate these issues when the Finance Bill returns, but let me just remind the House that under the previous government, 7,000 pubs closed, and she refers to that as the support of her party for pubs. Goodness me, Mr Speaker, what would it be if they hadn't supported those pubs? But we're not going to take any lessons about hospitality from the party opposite.
Chris Blow.